Welcome to the Business of Craft podcast presented by Stitchcraft Marketing. For nearly 16 years, we've taught retailers, manufacturers, and makers in the craft space how to thrive. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what you hear, leave a review to help others find our content.
Hey everybody, it's Leanne Pressly with Stitchcraft Marketing here with episode 7 of our Business of Craft podcast. And we are doing something a little bit different this season, which is we are reviewing chapter by chapter the book that we wrote and released in May, which is really very comprehensive as a guidebook for anybody that is interested in improving their marketing game. So the book is called Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses, and it's available on our website at stitchcraftmarketing.com/magic, or you can jump over to Amazon if you're looking for a Kindle edition. So this episode, we are going to be chatting about SEO. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that are thinking, SEO, oh, yeah, I just did my website a few years ago, and I'm pretty sure my web person set that up. And since then, you haven't really done anything with it. Or maybe you're thinking, it's super important for the algorithm, but you're not really sure, what should you be doing on a daily basis or when you're uploading content to really up your digital game. So we're going to talk today about both of those topics. And I would say you really don't need to be a web dev person. I'm going to just kind of go through some basics with you today so that you know what to keep in mind and what to be thinking about as you are uploading content to your website or really any of the places where SEO becomes important. So let's just start with a quick review of the internet and the metaphor that it really is a living ecosystem, right? It does not live or exist in a vacuum. And your digital assets are creatures inside that living ecosystem. They're constantly interacting. They're interacting with search engines, with social media platforms, with customers, and even your competitors. And so to make sure that you get noticed, your content needs to speak the same language as that ecosystem. And that language is called search engine optimization, or SEO for short. So SEO is what helps that content communicate clearly to the big search platforms like Google and Bing. Or, we're always saying that YouTube is a search engine, Pinterest is a search engine, Instagram is a search engine. So a lot of these rules, they're going to extrapolate across many different places, not just your website. So when we talk about SEO, we are always encouraging you to ensure that your content is structured well, that it's keyword rich, that it's relevant to your ideal customer or your customer avatar, as we like to refer. And most importantly, it's easily found online. So search engines are using little crawlers or little spiders or bots. Those might be interchangeable words that you hear. And they scan websites, or we just mentioned other social media channels, to determine which pages or which content is worth showing in the search results. And they're going to rank you, that algorithm that we mentioned earlier is going to rank you based on how helpful and how current your content is, how much of a match there is between what the search terms are that the surfer is using and what's on your page, right? Because they're constantly trying to match up that relevancy of the content. How authoritative your site is, like how much are you an expert in your field and on that topic? And that also can be based on backlinks. How many people are linking to you as the authority source for whatever that topic is? And then also how well it's formatted and optimized for web and mobile. And then there's a bunch of other little things that you are ranked on, that you're judged on, that become part of the larger algorithm. So yes, we like to say it is part science. There is step by step, and there are things you can do to optimize, but then it's also a little bit of Spellbook, right? It's a little bit of magic. We use that metaphor a lot at Stitchcraft Marketing, and it really applies here. Sometimes it's an art. We don't really know definitively how the algorithms work very specifically. It's kind of a hit or miss and trial and error. And, we know basically and generally speaking what the best practices are to help you optimize your SEO. So let's talk a little bit about the incantations of SEO, if you will, which are our keywords. So our keywords are those exact words and phrases that your customer, your ideal customer, is typing into the search term when they're looking for something like how to cast on for knitting or best quilting ruler for beginners. And your job is to make sure that those keywords show up in the content that you're posting, right? It sounds super simple, but so many people miss this, right? Your product listings, for example. If you don't have those keywords or those phrases in your product listings or your blog titles or your H1 headers, which is the header at the top of any given page, your image descriptions, your meta tags, your social bios, your hashtags. It just goes on and on, all the places where you can optimize for your keywords. So for example, if you are selling quilting kits, you don't want to just use quilting kit, right? A lot of people will just default to whatever the most obvious keyword is, like knitting or yarn, or even a phrase like quilting kits. But you're not going to rank for those. They're just too general. There's too many searches out there that are going to be more authoritative, have more backlinks. They're going to be national brands. They're going to be competitors that you just can't compete with in the space. And the example I usually give is books. If you're a little bookseller and you think that the keyword books is going to get you in the top search engines like Amazon, you'll never compete, right? So you have to get very specific with validated long tail keywords. And so that might be, instead of a quilting kit, it might be something like modern beginning quilting kit or patchwork quilt starter bundle, right? They're a little bit longer in their phrases, but it's going to reduce the overall search volume. And then now, given the other mix of items in your algorithm, you might actually have a chance at getting more traffic and more eyeballs on that content page. So by using your long tail keywords, they're going to help you rank higher. They're going to attract more qualified traffic. And of course, that's going to lead to more conversions. So I think you should be doing something called a validated keyword list. And we do have some other articles and topics. I could do a whole other podcast on how to create a validated list versus just a regular general list. But just keep in mind, for the purposes of this podcast today, that you want something that is not, generally speaking, too broad of a keyword. Hey there, everybody. It's Leanne Pressly with Stitchcraft. I just wanted to share with you a new announcement we have about a brand new community that we're launching in 2025. Crafting's always been about community. So why do less than 20% of craft business owners feel a sense of community with other owners in the craft industry? And that data point comes directly out of our research. We're so busy creating strong communities for our customers that we always forget we need the same level of support and guidance and camaraderie that we have curated for our customers. So our SCM, Stitchcraft Marketing, members only, provides an exclusive, dedicated online space for individual and group mentorship, marketing exercises, specialized courses, accountability, and encouragement to help you level up your skills as a craft business owner. The whole community is going to be guided by the marketing professionals that run Stitchcraft Marketing, who, as you know, also love crafting. We are knitters, we're crocheters, we're sewists, we're quilters, we're garment makers, and we've been there in the trenches struggling along with our clients. And so we know what you're seeking as a business owner. If you are a small craft business owner juggling all of those responsibilities to run your business, this community is absolutely for you. Each month, Members Only is going to focus on a different topic related to running an efficient craft business. We'll have coursework, classes, opportunities for personalized coaching, and mentorship. So check it out. It's going to be at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com, and you'll see the tab at the top for Members Only. Hope to see you in there. As I said, you're not going to rank at all with those broad keywords like yarn or fabric or expect traffic from those. Avoid ultra-competitive keywords with millions of monthly searches. And in my opinion, I think you should aim somewhere between 300 to 800 in terms of moderate. We would call that moderate traffic volume in order for you to actually rank. And there's a lot of tools out there, and there's plenty that we mentioned in the book that will help you identify what is search volume for particular phrases. One of the places you can start looking at your keywords is the Google search bar. What kind of content comes up? You can use other tools like the Google Keyword Planner, which is free if you have a Google Ads account. You can use SEMrush's Keyword Magic tool or SEO book. That's one that we use quite often. And then you can use multiple phrases. Try different words like knitting kit and knitting kits, plural. Make sure that you're always utilizing your geographic words, keywords by state, city, county name, your region, your town name, maybe the name of the plaza where your shop is. Don't forget those as keywords. And then next, we want to make sure that your content structure is well structured, that you are considering the hierarchy that the algorithm considers when ranking your site. So you want to be cognizant of your H1 title tags for your main titles, your H2, these are all HTML terms, H2 tags for subheads, H3 tags for details under each section. Bullet points are great also. Not only is that easier for your reader, but it increases the chance that Google is going to pull your answer as a featured snippet, which is just that little magical box that appears above your search results. And even if someone doesn't click through, that's just going to help you build your brand awareness and visibility. Also, don't forget about your meta tags. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can chat with your web dev person and just say to them, hey, I want to make sure that my meta tags are complete and filled out thoroughly. Like, for example, your description of your website. I can't tell you how many times we do a website audit for clients, and there's nothing in the meta tag that says description. So that's a real missed opportunity. And then we've got technical SEO. So once you get past that content piece and you're writing really good content with really good keywords, now you want to dig a little bit deeper and go into what we call technical SEO. Now, these are little things that Google and the other search engines are going to be scanning for. And I like to think of it like they're scoring you. So they're giving you points every time that you do this well, and they're giving you a demerit for every time that you do not have your technical SEO up to speed, right? So, for example, is it mobile friendly? How does it render on a mobile device? Is it a responsive design? If it is, then you get points. If it's not, then you lose points, right? Does it load quickly? Same thing. Are your links working? Is your sitemap submitted to Google Search Console? Do you have an SSL, secure socket layer certificate for any of you doing e-commerce? That's going to give you points or take away points. You can use some tools like HubSpot Website Grader, SEMrush Website Audit, Google Page Speed Insights. Again, we can go through all of this in more depth in our book, where you can test your site and see how you are scoring on those technical pieces. You can hire a web developer or a marketing partner like our agency to run these audits for you. We do website audits for clients all the time where we look at, what does your website look like from a consumer experience? How is your customer perceiving your pages? Is your navigation clear? How is your SEO? How are you scoring on technical SEO? We do all of that for you. So if that's something you might be interested in, just reach out to us and we can get you started with that. And then lastly, I want you to make sure you are incorporating SEO as part of your daily marketing. This is not something that when you do a refresh on your website or you design it for the first time, you say to your web dev person, Oh yeah, put some SEO in there and then you're just one and done, right? Remember at the top of the broadcast, we were talking about how it's a living ecosystem, right? It's always changing. It's always evolving. And Google particularly loves fresh new content. So presumably you're going to be writing new blogs. You're going to be adding new product pages. You're going to be upgrading or updating your About Us page. There's so many opportunities when you come in and refresh your content. You have to be thinking about SEO at all of those opportunities. So for example, whenever you're creating a new YouTube video, it has to be keyword optimized. Whenever you're posting a blog, it has to be keyword optimized. If you're launching new classes and you're writing that description for those classes, it needs to be keyword optimized, right? So this is not a one and done thing. It is something that once you get into the habit of how to write effective SEO content, it should just be second nature to you, right? You should know, like some of my best clients, they have their validated keyword list. Like they could rattle it off to me at the top of their head. They know what those keyword phrases are that they're trying to target their customers with. And you should too, right? You should not only have that list, but you should be real familiar with it. So when you're writing content, it's just falling into place as second nature. Also, remember you want to be writing content for real people. Avoid the pitfall of keyword stuffing. This is fairly common, or even worse. Please absolutely avoid, black hat techniques like, writing a whole string of keywords and then coloring that white so that it's not visible, but it's in your HTML. All that sort of monkey junky stuff. We don't do that, right? And the search engines are so sophisticated now that doesn't really work anyway. And in fact, you're going to get dinged for it. So just stay away from all of that and just think about writing in a way that's helpful, that's natural, that's conversational. Once you write a little paragraph, read it back to yourself. And if it sounds like you're keyword stuffing, then, take some stuff out or make sure that it's like you are talking to a real person. Because, at the end of the day, the Google and other engines, they're looking to send traffic to the most relevant, high value site. So if you can just simply be that site, then you're going to get that traffic, right? And if you find yourself with an outdated website or one that's just not performing the way that it needs to be right now, reach out to us, please. That's what we're here for. We specialize in craft companies. We do this day in and day out. We can get you to that end finish line a lot faster than if you try to figure out the learning curve or you're, designing something on your own. I always recommend just hire the experts, whether that's us or someone else around you, so that you can just get to that place where you're converting and you're generating sales without spinning your wheels too much. All right. Well, that is all I have for you today. If you want to dive deeper into the subject, you can reference chapter 9 of our book, Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses. And like I mentioned, you can purchase a copy at stitchcraftmarketing.com/magic. So thanks again for spending time with me today. I'm trying to make these real short and quick so that you can just digest them in some bite-sized chunks. And appreciate you being here. And we'll see you on the next episode of Business of Craft. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business of Craft. Hey, before you go, don't forget about all of our free resources, including our monthly magic newsletter, our twice monthly blogs, our free live monthly office hours where you can jump on, learn a topic, and get a little bit of free consulting, our executive summary of the 2023 research for craft retailers that you can download directly from our website. And we have a lot of tutorial videos as well as recordings of all of our past office hours on our YouTube channel. So find all those resources at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com. And on our website, you can also purchase a copy of our book, Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses, in Kindle, paperback, or audio format. See you next time.